Thank you. All right, welcome audience and those viewers on TV to the Finance Committee meeting of the Indian Wells Valley Water District. Regular meeting starting at 3 p.m., adjourning at 3 p.m. on December 2nd. Holy mackerel. Okay, so with that, I'll move on to any committee or public comments. Nobody out there. All right. Fraud risk discussion. What's going on?
We have nothing to report other than we did have our auditors here the week before Thanksgiving week.
Okay.
They're here for about 2.5 days, so I think that was a record in and out.
Yeah.
And they were happy with everything they received from us. So
All right,
we
that's
got a
good.
couple follow-up items that are just mostly for narrative when we put out the financial report.
Right.
But
Wow.
they're working on the financial statements right now.
Great.
So, under the category of risk, we will talk about the Inukurn CSD. We received a letter from the state today asking us to determine, to show them if the Inukurn CSD and the Water District have come to some sort of mutually agreeable consolidation, which I don't believe has happened. And December 12th is the date, and we owe a response to the state 2 weeks after that. Now, one of the things that we did talk to Ty about is that should the state do what they say in the letter, which is potentially force a consolidation, one of the things we'll have to do pretty immediately is have a real financial audit. We don't know the last time that somebody did a real audit out there. And so that would be something that we would have to consider. And, you know, embedded within those type of things are risks that things could have been not managed appropriately out there. So just letting the board know that that's something that's on our radar. We talked to our auditing firm to say, should this come up in the future, it may be one of the first steps we would need to take if a consolidation were to occur.
I think a complete systems audit is necessary too.
Yeah.
What's the condition of everything? What's the life expectancy of things? Is it going to provide what the state requires? And all that needs to be made into one because all it's going to cost. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
hopefully that would be something the state would cover, but I mean,
Yeah, we
I
all,
think the
we
state
could make
would
the
have to cover.
case.
yeah, I think the state would, yeah. Well, we're getting off subject there. We're going to be talking about this later anyway, are we not? It's, is this an open board meeting discussion? I don't know why it isn't. Everything's in the open, all the letters and everything going back and forth.
yeah, we've got everything up on the website.
Okay,
And we do have an action item on the,
okay,
for the Inukurn CSD consolidation. So all of those topics are open for
good.
discussion.
All right,
I thought it was appropriate to bring it up here because it talks about fraud risks. We don't know what's gone on over there. And so we are taking the necessary steps so we can be prepared to understand.
okay,
It's just a risk that we don't understand.
all right.
May I ask, have we already set in motion putting together a letter or a report indicating progress toward a voluntary consolidation? Because the date is December 12th. Is that what I read? I appreciate you sending out that letter again in an email. But it seems like we're on kind of a short fuse.
Yeah, when you read the list of requirements that the state wants in that letter, which include what we agreed to, signed agreements, this and that, the likelihood that in the next 10 days, we're going to accomplish all those things is
None.
almost virtually impossible. So I believe we should just, my recommendation to the board is that we just proceed to respond to the water board with what we've attempted to do and tried to do, and then let the water board make whatever decision that they decide is necessary.
Let's hold any more discussion on this until the Monday board meeting, because I think we can have a good public discussion about what could be expected of us and lay some groundwork if necessary. Because I have some ideas too, but I'm just going to wait till I bring it up till then.
Yeah, probably out of topic for this meeting anyway.
Right. Anything else before we move on to imported water costs? Which is always going to be on here and the impact.
I would want to report, at the last GA meeting, I believe there was a comment made that in the engineering analysis going on within the GA regarding the AVEC portion of the imported water pipeline. They made a comment, I think AVEC has estimated there may be another $50 million in cost to upgrade their system to make it able to deliver water to the point where the pipeline begins in California City,
Right.
and that the GA doesn't know if any, none, or all of that cost would be borne by the proponents of the pipeline, which is an incredible cost increase, just sort of thrown out there as a comment and you're going, where's the engineering behind this? What did AVEC really say? What is actually required? It's just one of those things where you just go, what's going on? Do we really it's just going to be another $50 million
If
to
you,
somebody.
if you listen to the report from Provost and Pritchard and Provost, I was wondering if he was tongue in cheek when he said, did I say that right? Is it Provost, Pritchard and Provost?
Provost and Pritchard.
Pritchard, yeah. And so I thought he said it tongue in cheek. We said, after we had these last storms, we see a lot of riverbeds and we're going to have to make sure that we're underneath all that. He said 15 feet. And he goes, there's gonna be a lot of money involved there in studies and all that. And then he said, well, your other option is you just run them above ground and when they wash out, you just repair them. Was he saying that tongue in cheek or was he serious?
No, he was serious. He was saying that we're going to build the pipeline to the depth we've designed it, and we're just going to have to live with the fact that it's just going to get washed out every time.
No, he said you can either put it the depth we need it
Oh,
or let it wash out and replace it.
and I think he meant at the way the current design.
Design is, yeah.
Yeah, which is like
And-
5 or 6 feet under.
And I was waiting I thought he said it tongue in cheek, hoping someone on that board would say, so what you're saying is rather than put in right, let's just repair it every time it breaks.
I think that's what he said, and I don't
I
think.
wish, I think he was expecting someone to say something and they didn't. I was shocked when he said that. So the cost keeps going up with that thing.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, as I recall, the issue on improving or increasing the capacity up to California City was that it was originally designed for a certain amount. And
Right.
California City is using a small percentage of what it was designed for.
Right.
But if indeed California City was to use what they originally were going to use, then there wouldn't be enough capacity, but they're under contract to deliver to California City first, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the thing that occurred is if I read the details correctly, AVEC has a hydraulic model that simulates water flow in their system. And they paid AVEC to sort of run the scenarios of what would happen with a certain amount of water flowing through the system and what would it mean to their overall system. And we have a similar model for our own system that we use when we make design changes. And I'm not sure what the entire sort of impact of that would be if they were flowing the amounts of water that they're proposing. But I think it was that study that led AVEC to come to this $50 million conclusion. That's my best read of the board packet and what it said.
Yeah.
That was not actually said in public.
But there is a difference between increasing the capacity of the existing system and having to perform maintenance on the existing system. And that wasn't quite clear to me
Yeah.
the last
It-
time it came through.
They have here's the thing I think David maybe start asking for soon is, where is your operational guidelines? Has anybody looked down and say, if this pipeline goes in as you plan, how does it operate? What happens when no one needs the water? You just shut it down and then drain it? And then you start, and maybe it shuts down for 3 months and none of those pumps are ready to bring on again? Now, what is the operational guidelines for this thing? Because that goes to the total overall yearly cost.
Sure.
And I've yet to see any operational guidelines or whatever you want to call it in terminology. And I think it's something that until they know that, we can't put a dollar amount on operating line. We're guessing it's about the same as running another water district. And that's a guess, but it's probably fairly accurate. But I keep thinking that, what happens when they don't need the water? Do they just shut it down? And how long could it be shut down before you have to drain it? You can't just let it sit there in that pipe, can you? See? And where does the water go? And then when you start it back up, what's involved? Don't you have to chlorinate and clean and test and everything else?
To flush it.
Yeah,
We did that at
so-
Vandenberg. It was a mess.
So I've yet to see any kind of operational guidelines on that. So these are the kind of things, I agree with your meeting before the GA meeting with our representative there to bring these things to light and start asking, he's not going to get any answers, but we need to get it into public light,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
one of the things that we've never had is a risk assessment
That's
associated with the
Absolutely.
whole project.
Yeah,
I mean, that's always one of the things you do in engineering, at least when you're doing missiles and airplanes anyway.
yeah.
And I don't know how, we do need a risk assessment, looking at both the construction
Keep-
and the operating issues.
Keep those things in mind. I think they need to come to our representative, and I don't think there's any reason he can't ask those questions. And we start bringing those questions forward and more forward and more forward. And, I mean, how long could they dodge them? Well, they've been doing good for years now, so type of thing. But I feel the cost that we have a handle on, I believe, is the cost of the pipeline. What we don't know is how much are they truly going to need to borrow. We don't know where all their money's coming from and where do they have funds and matching funds and how much they can tax us. But I think we have a fairly good idea based on our analysis of the operational costs. And, I know we had 9 to 10 or 12 million. I think it's more near the $15 million mark myself for yearly operational costs. And I think what we need to do is just keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Just keep talking about it till the public knows.
Well, and looking at what's going on now at the federal government level, it seems to me that trying to get money is going to get harder,
Yeah.
not easier.
Yes, I believe it.
Yeah, and I just want to make a comment on that, to Ron's point. The more that we've learned, one of the things that we've learned is, the GA has not bought water rights to put water in the pipeline yet.
That's right.
So in our cost estimate, we looked at what AVEC just currently charges their in AVEC customers and their out of AVEC customers for water. And it's about $800 an acre foot if you're within the boundaries of AVEC, and AVEC is actually putting taxes on the properties where you're getting water. So if you're
Right.
in Palmdale or Lancaster or one of these cities that AVEC is in their district, that's a $700 an acre a foot charge for the water. They also export water to the Mojave Water Agency. Now that agency, they do not collect taxes from, and that water costs $1,800 an acre foot. Okay, now, because we didn't want to be accused of overestimating the cost of the water at the point of delivery from AVEC, we used about $1,000 an acre foot, which is slightly higher than what they would charge an in portion. The longer this goes on, the more I look at it, the more I start to believe that we may have underestimated what those costs are, because there's the cost that AVEC has to move, to buy their own water rights from the state. But then the GA has to somehow buy water rights, because that's what the replenishment fee is for. Then it gets shipped through AVEC, and then they're gonna have to put a price tag on it. But if let's say this $50 million upgrade needs to come, is that gonna get financed on top of their normal rates and could dramatically increase the rates at the point of delivery to the pipeline? These are questions that need to be asked. So, and I hope I'm explaining this properly. It's like, if AVEC finances the $50 million, does that water all of a sudden cost $2,500 an acre foot at the point of delivery, or $1,500? What does it really cost?
Well, if it'd be like us, anything that we invest in capital here has to turn into some kind of billing to our ratepayers. So if AVEC pays for that, obviously it's going to have to roll into the water costs that we have to pay on a yearly basis. If we pay for it, it's somehow going to be a taxable capital expenditure somehow.
But one way or another, we're paying for it.
One way or another, you're paying for it.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
go ahead.
Well, we don't know all of the adders.
No, we don't.
That AVEC could, because we have to, first of all, buy the right, the table A rights. Then we have to pay the California project for shipping it
Transporting.
down to AVEC. And then we have to add additional adders for them to get it back up to us.
Yeah, and AVEC, we have to pay for the treatment, because that water gets treated at the water treatment plant in Rosemont. So you have to pay not only the delivery cost, but you're paying for whatever it costs to operate that plant to the excess capacity. Then you have the pumps that move the water. Then if there's upgrades to the system. So there are, I think Ron has a valid point in that, we were relatively conservative, but the more I've sort of learned about how this process works, the more it does concern me that at the point of delivery, this water could be significantly more expensive than even we estimated in our cost study, which was purposely done, so we couldn't be accused of being,
Yeah.
inflating numbers. But just in this discussion, I think we understand it could be much higher.
Well, Stan hit the point. You're sitting here with a project that typically all this stuff is done, risk assessment, cost, environmental, everything's presented up front before you come up with a cost. Because, someone also brought up the fact that can you move under the current atmosphere of Sigma, can you take water from one aquifer and move it to another? It's a legal issue. We don't know what's going to happen with that. It may come up. If they try to spot buy water from another aquifer that somehow is going to come here somehow, is that even legal? And then you got, why can't they do a detailed cost analysis from their engineering firm? Why don't they present a detailed cost analysis? Because when I spoke afterwards a little bit with him, he sort of agrees to me. This is things approaching $500 million. And it is. But until that report is in the public, I think we need to push for getting it into public, because the reason they're not doing it, in my opinion, they don't want the public to know.
Oh,
They just do not want them to know.
don't want to know.
They don't want, I don't know if they want to know themselves. And then the other question I have, and I'm really concerned about this one, the replenishment fee. When that was put together for what, $50 million is what they wanted. Remember, they wanted us to finance our portion of 24 to 25 million. Now that we're the only one paying it, are we expected to pay the 50 million, or are we done at 25 million? So we need to get Jim or someone to really look at the resolution that was passed and how it goes to the engineering analysis or whatever they had. But everything I read said the 25 million was going to be divided up between the major pumpers, or 50 million, and our portion was about 25 million. I'm afraid that when we hit that 25 million, it was 5 years though, too, right? I think there's a 5-year deadline on it. But we need to know those things, because when that time comes up, can we just say, we're done? We've paid our 25 million, or it's been 5 years? Jim needs to look at that real closely, because we're going to be there in what, a year and a half or so, 2 years? Yeah, won't be long, we'll be at that. Because I don't know what it says. I keep thinking when we hit 25 million, we're done. And I have this sneaky suspicion, since they're not getting money now from Searles Valley Minerals or now from Pistachio, that they're going to say, well, no, you got to pay the rest of it. So what that's doing, it's asking our ratepayers to pay something that benefits every single pumper in the aquifer, which doesn't hold water, I'd like to say. So, I mean, that's an important point, and I think we need to figure that out eventually. I've read them, I know how I interpret it, but I'm not a lawyer. It's just like when I read the pumping fee. I understood the pumping fee went to $105 per acre foot until they caught up and paid the completion of the plan. Nowhere in there did it say it was for operational and lawyer fees and administration costs. They should have either done another resolution, or that one should have ended. I firmly believe it just should have ended. But for some reason, I can't get the lawyers to stand by that. At least not yet. Maybe it'll come up in the upcoming, But anyway, that's, I think it was a good discussion. And I think discussing it here and as much as we can in public at the board meetings is so important. We want the public to hear this stuff, because it's not going to get out there any other way.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Anything from the audience out there? Nothing, huh? All right. Let's move on to third quarter investment reports.
Okay, so this is third quarter calendar year, 2025.
Third quarter, okay, calendar year, okay.
Yeah, so the end of September, the district has almost 10.5 million in unrestricted funds in the bank and 3.8 million of restricted. Of course, the lion's share of that is the bond proceeds from the 2025. Are we at 4? I don't remember what year it is. 2024. You can see on the table down below where we have those funds designated. of course, the largest one being our emergency reserve and our alternate, our future source of supply. So,
Oh, excuse me. I'm hoping I see that as we get into these rates and all that, the way they're being adjusted up, that we see something coming back into our reserves,
yeah.
especially that
has.
capital improvement one.
It has a little bit, yep.
Yeah,
We have
okay.
been increasing.
Is this 3.8 million in restricted, is that spoken for yet? Is it mostly the Brady pipeline or is it?
Most of it's the Brady pipeline, and then
Okay.
there's a couple other projects on there, like the shed, or
Shed.
the pipe shed.
And things like that,
so, yeah.
okay. Do we have a time limit on it?
Usually you want to have something, at least in design phase within 3 years of issuance. So
Okay.
We still have another year and a
Okay.
quarter,
If you can get your time straight, it's 2024.
2024.
Yeah, good deal. Uh, What kind of percentage are we getting in that money's held by the local agency investment fund?
Not much right
How
now.
much? Do we get anything from the Kern County Treasurer?
We get more from them, but they migrated systems and they've had some problems getting us statements. I think we finally got July's or June's statement last week. So, yeah, we've been kind of fighting back and forth saying if they don't get us our statements, then we're gonna pull our money and go somewhere else. But yeah,
Okay. Source of water.
we actually usually do pretty well with the Kern County rates.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought they were a bit better than the other. Okay. Any comments, questions, Stan, anything on the investment?
No.
Okay.
I'm happy.
All right. Nothing from the audience. We'll go on to financial statements, November 30th.
Okay, so this is through November. We had total revenues of 8.1 million, which is a little short of our budget, 284,000 short, mostly short in the water sales revenue. We're 15% down in consumption last month compared to.
I bet we are, but especially with all the rain.
Compared to the
Mine's been
previous-
off.
yeah.
You haven't turned-
Yeah, so there's that. But on the opposite side, on the expenditures, we're staying well under budget. We're at 7.6 million, which is almost $1 million below budget at this point. So,
Okay.
so we have a net positive 519,000. As you see, the budget normally would be a negative 159 at this point.
Oh.
That seems kind of historical.
Right.
So we're doing better in revenue versus expenditures compared to previous years.
Yeah, I want to make a quick comment. I believe it was David St. Amand, as we were going through the cost study, who said one of the things we needed to account for was a potential decrease in water usage and therefore a potential decrease in revenue. And that was one of the things we factored into the cost study. Is that correct, Ty?
We did. I think we did. We
It was like
budgeted at
5%.
95%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a 2.5. We looked at a historical trend. So one of the good news stories is it's always good when we have water savings. It's not good in the sense of budget because we end up being a little bit short of our projection, but it is a great news that we actually accounted for that as we did our rate study, that could occur. And if it does occur, we've compensated for it in the previous rate study. And that's thanks to some of the input we got from the directors.
And what do we have? Replenishment fee paid of almost $15.5 million.
$1.5 million, yep.
Hopefully that 24 audit will be coming out soon. They told David asked about it again,
Oh, that's right.
and he
yeah.
said, and he was told, oh, we'll have it before the December meeting. I wouldn't count
So I'll
on
probably see it maybe Tuesday.
it. Yeah.
Well, I think when we went over the reconciliation in July, August, it was July, August, maybe it was September.
Yeah.
The income had actually been underestimated. That is, we were, seems to me that we were $400,000 or $500,000 better than we thought, as well as the 95% business. So we ought to be in pretty good shape. I guess
Yeah.
what I'm curious about is there anything not getting done that we would normally be doing And it's for some reason not getting done.
John,
based
let John
upon-
talk to that. John, how are we doing on I mean, there's always things that. we
There's
can't
always a
get to.
wish list, right?
Right.
We always want to put new pipe in the ground, upsize it, but we plan for that as well. So as far as the targets that we're hitting right now that were laid out for us, we're in good shape.
Okay,
So, and I think that's another thing that came out of the rate study was the adequate funding for the guys out back in the shops to have the parts they need and the stuff. And I believe Renee's got some good news to report on the Brady pipeline stuff. We got a permit today that we needed, and that was one of the final check boxes. So we're almost ready to start digging out on Brady. Is that correct?
I'll get my hard hat. I'll be out there.
There we go.
We're welcome to join.
Going bring a shovel?
No, bring a safety vest and some binoculars.
Should not be out.
Okay.
make sure that we weren't
They're going to be.
looking.
Dan, I think that's got.
No, that's a good
stuff that
question.
We hadn't done. So
Yeah.
that's good.
I think we're doing really well, and I think the guys out back have plenty of work. They got parts to do the work they need to do, and we were getting new equipment to do work that needs to be done, and all of that stuff is, I would say my general assessment is the guys out back are pretty happy with having what they need to keep the system maintained the way we want it to be.
I'm always proud of the water district. I brag to everybody about it. I think that we're well-run, we're well-operated, and we will continue to be. And, I mean, and that's a big feather in our cap for the way this district runs. I want to continue to be able to say that. I think we can. Yeah.
I agree. Well, and we've already got budgeted for a couple
Yes,
nice increases the next 2 years.
2 years or so.
Isn't good for the ratepayers, but it's going to put us in good shape, I think.
That's going to continue to be a problem. Every district you read about, every utility you read about, the public truly doesn't understand that you got to have a system that's there that whether you use it or not, you got to be able to turn it on and use it. And you got to operate the system because, people are beginning to look at their water bill and say, wow, I'm only paying $3 for water. Why is my bill 50 or 60 bucks? And they just, I don't know. Every time I see them or talk to them, I say, that's what it takes to operate this place. If we don't charge that, then we won't have a system to where you get your water.
To charge you zero, we'd have to stop pumping and close down.
That's right.
I will tell you who doesn't think that. Anybody that lived in Pacific Palisades,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to
Oh, yeah.
double their water bill. And so
Yeah.
there are clear examples of, in recent history of the absolute disasters that can occur if you don't keep your system up where it needs to be.
And it occurred here when we cut way, remember when we were mostly billing based on volume?
Mhm.
And how many layoffs did we have that year? 4 or something like that?
30% of our staff.
30%? Because, until we switched around to have the fixed rates that we do, and then we were in poor shape. And that wasn't just us, that was that was districts throughout the country.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just like we planned poorly, but we just had so much conservation that,
Yeah,
and then, so much of the rate was in that volumetric.
that's
rate.
right, it was all volumetric,
But
yeah.
What you say is true, but the problem is before we asked the people to conserve, we did 2 things. We first of all let our reserves drop down to almost nothing, and we didn't actually raise, what I've been told is we didn't raise the fees the year before like we had planned in the budget. So there were 2 things kicking us. And in my mind, it was as much bad management.
It could have been, but we're past that now, and I think we're falling in line with what's kind of been with most utilities. I mean, look at your electric bill. I don't use any electric, but I still get billed. It's going to be, I think it's going up. So even if you have solar panel systems, there's gonna be a base fee. I want to say it's right now I'm paying $9. It's going to go to $25, I
They're
think.
starting to charge us like a fee that we can't offset by.
Yeah,
solar.
exactly. So it's just more people need to understand it. And when people, I don't know if you guys do this, you have people come in with bills and you go over to them, explain to them what all that means on there. You wouldn't believe how many people don't have any idea what any of that means.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
our staff up front is very
They're good at that,
about
yeah,
going through and
good.
explaining it. People may not agree, but they can explain it.
And also I tell, hey, buddy, look at your cable costs. I mean, I remember when it was $40 and now it's $110. I remember when my gas bill was $15 and now it's
Yeah,
$50, $60.
I've
Yeah.
never seen inflation go backwards.
I've never seen
So-
utility bills go down.
Have we recently done a comparison with equivalent systems in terms of costs?
Yeah, we do that every time we did it when we issued the bonds.
Yeah, there's always a
No,
page,
we're-
there's always, yeah.
We're right in the middle. I mean, we're not.
I
on
haven't
the
had-
high end,
I always-
but
I always say
we're
that.
Right in the
Pretty
average.
sure we weren't high.
No, we're definitely not high. We're definitely not low. I keep that with me all the time to say,
Compare my water bill with
Yeah.
my electric bill or my gas bill.
So,
You know,
yeah,
doesn't justify raising the water cost, but
Right.
it's still, I think important to understand that water is as important as anything else, and we're not driving the costs.
yeah, and I want to point something out that I learned about the system that I think is really important, and it's a cost-saving design of the way the system was designed. So if you look at In-Your Current CSD, they have a well, they pay for the electricity to pump the water up into a tank, and then they have 3 more pumps that pump it into the system and pressurize the system, which uses more electricity. The way the system was designed, and credit to the people who designed it, is you pump it out of the well, but you pump it into a tank at an elevation, and instead of paying money to pump it and pressurize it, gravity does that for free for you.
Yeah.
And so the system is designed in such a way that it's incredibly efficient. It's really good in emergencies because when your electricity goes off, gravity still works and water still goes where it needs to go. And so you always want to give credit where it's due. And the people who designed this system designed it in a very cost-effective way to maximize what you do get for free from gravity to be able to feed the water into the system. And the more you think about it, when we talk about these electric bills and stuff, if it had been designed some other way where we had all these pumps pumping water to pressurize it, our electric bill would be so much higher. So kudos to the people who thought that stuff through decades and decades ago and started us on a path of an incredibly efficient system.
okay, are we done patting ourselves on the back?
I think we are. I just find it incredible every
No,
time I
I-
think about these things.
Yeah, but you're right about it. I think we have a very efficient system. It looks, look how we went through the earthquake. And remember a while back when electricity was off here in town for 3 days or something, or 4?
It was
No.
like 10 hours.
Oh, was it 10 hour? Yeah. Oh, that's right. I remember Eric still had the.
But we didn't
station.
know it was only going to be 10.
That's right, yeah. And we were able to service all the people that were necessary. Again, I see that we paid 15.5 in replenishment fee.
Are you on page 1?
I'm still on the the revenues versus expense.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
I'm
that's,
sorry, I thought we'd beat that.
no, we're not account, yeah, I just took a quick look at it, and that's where my question comes in is, we're pretty close to our 25 million, and hopefully we can just cut that off, type of thing. But keep in mind, when the adjudication is done, and whether it's the physical solution is through the GA or on its own, whatever, there's always going to be costs associated with it. One is you're going to have an administration to operate to all the reports and everything you need to do to support what you're doing.
Right.
And the other one is going to be money you're going to collect somehow for potential projects to continue your water. So to say that in my opinion, the pumping fee is going to be there one way or the other. Replenishment fee, maybe some form of it, I don't think as heavy as handed as it is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have a water master.
yeah, right.
Those costs.
Those costs, the
plus
engineering,
maybe
yeah.
Him, but also everything that he is responsible
Yeah.
for in terms of
Because everybody
reporting
says,
and everything
if replenishment
else.
fee goes away, and another thing people seem to forget is the people paying replenishment fee are tier 2 users. So your average user in your small homes, they're not paying a replenishment fee, they're just paying the pumping fee.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's keeps in mind, Anyway, enough for that financial. So we move on to accounts payable disbursements. And any questions we have on the list of all the checks he issued. No, first of all, I'm gonna get his Cosner neat. I see was it 15,000 or am I seeing the wrong line?
Yes, that's
what-
for the copier.
Okay.
Our copier broke.
Oh, yeah.
So.
They only
we-
last
We've
so-
had that for like 15 years. or
Yeah.
something, so hopefully this one lasts just as
And it
long.
beats the heck out of leasing them, I know that,
Yes.
because if I'm not mistaken, the contract includes taking care of the unit for you, right? Yeah. Some of them include toner, but I don't know if they do or not anymore.
Yep.
But definitely maintenance.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm trying to line this up. How much is the Indian County tax collector?
Just under 30,000.
What I thought. Okay, and so that's a number the board should keep in, mic's off. That's a number the board should keep in mind as we look at, the issues going on in Inyo County with the illegal dumping, the cost therein. I think we were contacted by someone who's interested in potentially leasing property up there, perhaps even property that is currently not developed. That would be good because, we want to make sure we're not losing money on that property up there and then having illegal dumping costs and all this other stuff. So just keep that number in mind.
That's our Inyo County tax bill for the
Right.
year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what page are you on, Ron?
I'm still on the very first
This
first
is-
page of the list of checks.
Page
It's called
one of
page
accounts
one.
payable.
Page one of,
Okay.
Yeah, the
Second
co-
page of,
the second page of the thing, but the page
Okay.
one of accounts payable. The one with our logo in the top right-hand corner. Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that one out. And I have a feeling our Southern California Edison bill is gonna go out, considering it's been cloudy almost every stinking day for a month. I noticed my electrical production has really dropped off.
But we do have the well 30 site on, so we're getting some.
Yeah,
And the good news is the cameras are going to be installed soon, and we're anticipating doing the repairs on the solar fields starting in mid-January. Is that what you said?
Well, can you do something about the sunlight? Can you keep the clouds away and just have the sun shine on our panels?
We'll see. I know Chris can work miracles.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'm not sure about that one.
Well, I've been noticing that because I have the solar panel system. You've seen it, and ever since that river storm went through here, we haven't had a lot of continuously sunny days.
Yeah, I might actually have a bill this month.
I know. Yeah, I'm afraid I might too. Yeah. All right, nothing else there.
is Southern California Edison the 72,000?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a chunk.
It is.
Well, it used to be 100 before we did all the panels, it used to be
Oh, easy, probably 125.
25, 130,000, yeah. All right. I'm moving all the way to the last two pages. Just look and see if there's anything there. Ferguson, Groundwater Authority, Audit Controller.
Ty, when are we going to hear about the latest? I see the Aqua JPI. I assume that's some sort of insurance. Is that correct?
That is our insurance
Yeah.
payment.
Yeah, so when will we hear the latest in insurance increases? What month does that hit us?
So this is for the health insurance. So I'm not sure
Yeah.
how that works. We'd have to ask HR.
Okay, because at some point, we're going to get that hit again, and it's not been good over the last few years.
I think you would, yeah, I think we'd already know.
Yeah.
As far as Sederma, that's every year. We should know that usually in
It's
an estimate.
it's more the liability insurance that we get beat up on every year.
Yeah, I mean, this we cover a portion of the health cost, but
Mhm.
that goes down every year, how much we cover.
Okay. Krieger and Stewart.
Ferguson Water Works was on both pages.
Yeah, that's where we get a lot of our parts for the infrastructure.
What's Nobel again?
That is our GIS system.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And so that 15,000 there is for the Springbrook integration.
Okay. I don't see anything else on here that I have questions about.
Was there only one check dispersed for McMurtry, Hansock, and Worth. Of the 60,000, was that the total for that?
Yeah,
month?
that's usually, they're around there every month. Yep.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. In general, just sort of thinking over the last few months, the legal doesn't seem to be all that
No, it's,
bad. I mean, fairly nominal relative to our budget. Is that,
it's run about 100 grand a month total, about roughly.
Between those two, but then there is some that hits that has to do with adjudication type.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
Some
Actually,
Krieger and Stewart, some Tim Parker, some Ramble, when it's not directly related to the model development.
right, like you told me.
Yeah.
I think, what figure did you, I'm trying to find, was it an email you sent me about the cost? I hope I printed that out. I'm sure I did. Because I asked Ty to do me a total cost since we started adjudication for legal fees spent on the adjudication. And obviously, everything from Doug Everett's office was adjudication. And he sent me a number. I don't remember what it was. It was, over all the years, it was 3.1 million or something since 2019.
Yeah, I'd have
Yeah.
to look. It's been
I-
a couple
yeah.
weeks since I've looked.
Yeah,
at
I
it.
don't know if I printed it out, and usually I keep a copy of it because I was asked that question. And if you look at the average per year, it's not enormously bad, you know.
No, but it still adds up.
Yeah, it all adds up, and it also, there's all the work that was done on the model.
Yeah.
And everything else that was done, which was besides that.
I'm
1 year of operating the pipeline would be
Yeah.
triple that, so
Yeah, you're right.
you got to put everything in perspective that way.
Now, I'm assuming that most of the reverse validation is actually under Everett's as well.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
I believe so. Yeah, I think there's some from Jim, but it was minimal.
Right.
Okay.
But we've been loading Jim down with a lot of other things too. Everything's going on with those
Lately so.
consolidations, everything. Yeah, there's a lot of other things that are hitting him. In fact, he's having trouble keeping up with us. All right. Do you see anything else there, Stan? Any questions?
Mm, Second. No,
Nope.
no, I'm,
Okay, we okay with recommending the board to approve the accounts payable disbursements?
sure.
All right,
Second that.
as done. We will recommend to the board to pay our bills.
Yeah, that way they'll keep working, doing the job that we pay them for.
Okay, number 8, is there anything further on this mutual aid agreement?
No, we just kind of left it on there until we hear something back.
Okay. Yeah. Did they go through this last rain? Didn't they get flooded again badly? John, do you know? I thought they did.
They got some, but not as bad as
The
the
first
first. It was
one,
a slower
okay.
rain. The drainages have been cleaned, so they did pretty well this last
Okay,
time.
good. Good. All right. With that, do we have anything else?
Just
So
a,
I'm good.
just a note, in January, we'll be, at the next board meeting, we'll be talking about the January board workshop. One thing that we're going to suggest is that Ty do sort of a mid-year budget review. So that's related to that. So just as a note to you guys that, if you think that's good, or if you think you need that 6-month sort of snapshot, yes, or you can just say,
Ty says no, but
I mean, this is a board decision. I think you guys will go with what your recommendation is.
No.
well, typically, don't we look over everything mid-year if it's an issue
If it's an issue.
and
yeah,
you're
we
looking
kind
at
of-
readjusting the budget?
Yeah.
But that's not the case right now.
At this point, I don't see any reason to readjust the budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
My concern early on about doing a budget review was we had underestimated our total income for last year, and the current budget was prepared based upon the lower number, and I was thinking that maybe we had more money to do things with than the budget showed, and that we could have extra money. But if Ty is happy with where we are, and certainly the numbers reflect, I
Yeah,
think, a reasonable
absolutely.
number, I'm not excited about doing
Yeah.
a mid-year.
I
Look
think-
at that smile on Ty's face.
I
But-
appreciate that.
yeah.
Though I will say, if things start going the other way, I will be the first one here to let you know.
Yeah.
And
Well, you know, whenever we're talking about all this work taking place, I always look at you.
Yeah. no, it's helpful. I appreciate it. I think that's how we maintain a good budget.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so when it comes to the workshop, as far what we want to do financially, I'm going to leave that up to George and Ty. I don't know if you want to make a short presentation, statement that, okay, we're all right, we don't need any adjustments necessary, or something. I don't expect a full-blown, line by line budget, anything.
I mean, I can do a little more at the January board meeting when we
Yeah.
go over this. and I
Okay.
think that would probably
Okay,
suffice.
that's fine.
So I think another thing that we're going to do is Renee's developing sort of a list of projects that could be executed by chasing grant funding, as you
Okay.
suggested
I
earlier.
like that,
And so
yeah.
I think the budget focus might be a lot of Ty going, here are the various programs that are out there. Here are the places where we might want to apply for grants to help various parts of our system, based on engineering sort of ranking of what we think we need to get done. And so that might be the more important aspect of financial stuff that we
Yeah,
look at.
I agree. The long-term things, the big engineering projects, potential costs, potential locations of money, of it.
Well, and we don't know what's going to be, if we get a response back from the water board regarding Inyokern, we may be spending more time looking into, because their concern, I think, was more the financial management aspect to start with, rather than the technical design.
Yeah,
And that's,
and we'll see where we're at that point in
Board.
time. Yeah.
yeah, but I am concerned that we're not where, the water board wanted us to be.
I don't think it's a case of wanting us to be anywhere. It's a case of wanting them to be somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't think, my opinion is that we can't go in there and twist their arm to say,
Oh, we
work
don't-
with us to do something. We can't.
I agree.
Yeah,
But-
it's,
But I'd still prefer that we get an agreement with them voluntarily and go, lockstep back to the water board. Then it scares me, based upon what I've seen in the past.
Yeah.
With the water board, what they might do. That, including the review of the GSP, which I thought was terrible.
well, that's
No.
that's a different bunch. That's a DWR.
No, they're both, actually, they did a review, and they sent their review to DWR. DWR summarized the water board's review, so.
Right.
In any event, I've talked to George about this, and I think he agrees that anything that we can get an agreement on, it would be nice, but right now.
We'd love to. I wish our committee could have come back and said, we've agreed it, and we number one, we know what's going to cost us to manage it
Mhm.
for X number of time, what it's going to cost us to get it into shape just while we're managing it, and then what the total cost is going to be when they completely consolidate. Those are
Well,
three more, we don't have those.
By the way, when we turned down their JPA request or
Proposal.
proposal, the letter that we got from the Inyokern group, the board, it implied that we never told them that we had turned it down, and they were still waiting for a response. That was,
That's not
say,
true.
did we not?
We
Kevin?
responded.
We did formally respond to them saying that we didn't like their JPA, or we wouldn't go along with it.
Yeah, we wrote them a letter and we said that we had considered, the board had considered their proposal and the board was not happy with it. And we wrote them that letter. So those letters are all posted up on our website. So there's a
Oh, okay.
section for the,
Because their letter back to us sort of implied that we had never responded. And I said, gosh, that's hard for me to believe that we,
so the way that will work, Stan, is that now that we've received today's letter from the water board that says you now, both the water district and Inyokern have to write formally to the water board and say, this is where we're at with this voluntary consolidation, and these are the steps that we've taken and the things that we've considered. So really what we're going to be doing is just responding to that letter to the water board to say, here's what we've done. And I believe we've been a pretty open book and been pretty willing to meet. And, you know, that's really, I think that the,
Yeah. And
we're
I
at.
think I would suggest, based upon what I know right now, is to maybe make the letter short, sweet, and to the point, rather than going through a lengthy, you know, he said, she said, you know, back and forth.
It is pretty point to the point. They don't want to work with us right now on consolidating.
yeah. So we're going
They're
to,
considering suing the state.
yeah, I think we're going to leave that somewhat to the lawyers to make the first draft to see where they think they want to go. And then we'll, you know,
Well, I don't know.
the letter from the state has a lot of very specific points they want addressed. You know,
Oh,
what, do you have
yeah.
a signed agreement? Do you have this? Did you do that? Did, you know?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so those things will need to be responded to point by point, but that's probably the format it'll take, is just give them what they've asked for.
I think what's going to happen, in my opinion, is the state water board's going to come forward and say, you are going to consolidate to them. And I say, by this particular date, we want the layout of the plan. When do you take over management? What's it going to cost for the water district to manage your facility? What kind of money do you need to bring it up to par just during the management phase? And how long is that going to be? The management phase, in my opinion, could be 3-4 years before you actually do the actual consolidation, you know, because all that's got to be laid out and engineered. So I think they're going to come back and say, you're going to do this, and here's the dates we want these things. And that's what's going to end up happening. Because I don't think they're going to let them slide on this one. I just don't. If we're going to find out, yeah, you know. I have a bit more faith in that portion of the state water board rather than DWR, who is handling, you know, all these GAs. Because I've spoken with them, they seem, and we've had quite a few meetings with them, and they seem to be easy to work with at this particular point for this issue. They know what they want, and they know how they're going to get it.
Based on what we've been going through with June 3 consolidation, it takes time. There's
Yes.
paperwork involved. There's plans that have to be developed, an agreement.
Right.
And, you know, then you have to undergo, I don't even know how to explain it, but yeah, you have to lay out exactly with your
Right.
budgets and everything what you're
So
going to
during our
do.
management portion of this,
Mm.
not only do we need to keep it running
Yes.
properly,
And we need to be
we
planning
need to
for
be
what we're gonna
getting
do.
ready to get all this engineering and report to the state for their approval and bidding and everything else we're doing with the consolidation. So, you know, that's what we should have been planning already in the last 2 or 3 months. But if you can't get any current to work with you on it, you just can't. My biggest concern, if I have to say of anything, is what is it going to cost to bring that system to the point where it can continually supply good drinking water for the period until we actually consolidate with our system? That's the scary part to me. That could be millions of dollars. It will be millions of dollars. You know?
Their pipeline's not that old. There's one street that I'm aware of that is like a 4-inch AC, but their mains have been updated with fairly new valves. They run a smaller poly pipe, but honestly, their infrastructure as far as pipeline goes isn't terrible.
Okay, but
It's their
meters,
service lateral,
tanks,
meters, tanks, stuff like that.
That-
Yes,
yeah.
100%.
okay. Anyway, we'll find out soon, Stan. So stand by. It's going to be an
Like I
interesting.
said, that could very well end up being a topic of discussion at the board workshop if we've moved to the point where we are able to have that discussion.
Yeah. It wouldn't hurt to have as much, hopefully we know more by then, to have a good discussion in public about it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else before we adjourn?
Nope.
Hearing none, I'll adjourn this at 3:54. Thank you.